What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Travis. Of course, you're watching TWA Motorsports. Welcome back. Today, guys, we have another LS motor on the stand that we're gonna have to tear down. So, look, guys, we have had a bunch of stuff taken apart, right? So now we have the Trans Am apart, we have the 52 apart, the 54 is still not back, we've got the 55 apart, we've got the OBS partially apart, but here was the situation, right? We had the 6-liter and the 4L80 mock-up trans set right here, right? Well, my painter is getting ready to take the frame to fill some holes, close some stuff off. We'll get into that later. But anyway, I needed to get this out. And the plan was, look, I bought that 6-liter that used to be sitting right here. I bought that guy from a truck, a 1-ton that I parted out probably 2 or 3 years ago. Now, I've been setting it around because I was going to use it in a project, and this was going to be the project, right? So I decided to go ahead and put it together, get some parts, and get it in the 52. However, this, by the way, is the motor out of the Suburban. But when I went to drain the oil on this thing, now, guys, I drove this thing for like 3 months. When I went to drain the oil, a huge, and I'm talking huge chunk of metal came out. Not good. So it's got me a little nervous and a little apprehensive. So since we have all these LS motors setting apart, we bought this 6-liter to put in the 54. Remember, I said, no, it's not going in the 54. Now it's going to go in the 52. That is where the motor is going out of the, I know this is a lot. We pulled the motor out of the 52 Chevy pickup. It is going in the 54 car because it runs and drives good. And they're probably not going to keep the 54. But look, this was a good running, driving motor. I drained the oil in it. It actually looks good. So we're going to go this route. But before we do that, guys, we're going to have to disassemble this. And so what I planned on doing, instead of boring you with talking about each step, you can disassemble this with some metric wrenches or impact, and that is my plan. So we are going to knock this down. I'm going to time lapse this so you guys can see this engine come apart. We're gonna start cleaning it up. I don't know how deep we're gonna get in this video, but that is the plan. Guys, I've got parts already. I've got the oil pan, I have the oil pump, I have the cam, I have the heads. I have a lot of parts to put back on this engine, but I wanna get it good and clean. I wanna get this old stuff off, so let's get started. Set you up on the tripod and let's blow this thing apart. Well, as you can see, we've got a lot accomplished relatively quickly. So guys, I can't get the crank pulley off. I'm gonna have to get my flywheel locking tool in, but as you noticed, I don't have a flywheel, so that's not gonna work. As far as like the tape and whatnot, guys, look, here's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to keep all the junk out of the motor. I am gonna go ahead and pull this harness off, but look at all the stuff we got pulled off this thing. I'm going to probably trash a majority of it. I may try to sell some of it, but we're not going to be reusing any of the stuff that you see on the floor, other than maybe the coil packs. The coil packs we probably will use, but a couple other things I want to do. I want to go ahead, I'm going to vacuum out these areas here, and I'm going to put the spark plugs back in because I want to keep it sealed up while we clean the outside of the block. And to me, that makes the most sense. So I'm going to scrape this area, get it nice and clean, tape off the cylinders. We're not going to be using these heads either, but to me, guys, this is the easiest way to keep junk from getting in it, is to tape off all these areas. So I'm going to continue kind of off camera, cleaning these areas on the side, putting the spark plugs back in, and then I guess we'll get to some cleaning. I do need to get a flywheel on there, though, and get this guy off. Well, here's where we're at, guys. Look, I got a lot of the bolt holes cleaned out, right? So the uppers, I got this top row cleaned out, but here's what I'm thinking. I talked to my local machine shop who does all my work, and guys, I'm gonna have this thing freshened up. The more I think about it, the more I'm cleaning. I look at the cylinder walls. You know, would it work? Yes, but man, I would sure hate to put all these new parts on this thing and something be wrong or it burn oil, and I wish I would have done it while I had it apart, and then you're spending more money to put, you know, new gaskets and seals and whatnot back in it. So it's going to be relatively cheap. There's nothing wrong with the motor, but I would just like to have him take a look at the bearings, maybe even replace the bearings and put new piston rings in it. So I mean, I know it's crazy to tear this down and then decide this, but like I said, 10 years ago, the me would have just slapped it in. I would have cleaned it up, slapped it in, and not thought twice about it. But the guy who wants it to run good and not have any issues, that part of me, I've just been burned a couple times on thinking things were good, putting it in. As a matter of fact, on my green truck over there, you guys remember I put the 4L80 swap. I did it a couple times because I thought I had a good transmission. It wasn't. Then I had to send the converter back. So you get to that point where you're just tired of spending money when you should just do it right the first time. So that's what we're gonna do. You guys got to see the disassembly, which I think is kind of fun, to be real honest with you. I like blowing stuff off these motors and doing that. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at now. I'm dropping it off at the end of this month. I'm not sure when this video will post. I'm gonna drop it off at the end of the month and have it all cleaned up. So when we get it back, it's gonna look really nice and it'll go together relatively quickly. So be looking for a video on that. But if you guys did enjoy this disassembly, please go down there and hit that thumbs up button. Like always, guys, smash the subscribe. Make sure you ring that bell notification that notifies you every time we drop a new video, and stay tuned to see what we work on next.